This episode of the Oh No 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 podcast is sponsored by Dynamic Industrial Services, the rope access specialists. As long-time Raith Rovers supporters, we are very familiar with ropey performances. But if you need a service that's more Sam Stanton than Willie Accio, look no further than DIS. Operating across Scotland, they specialise in working at height, offering maintenance, inspection, repairs and more. So if you've got a problem at a height that even John Fredrickson can't reach, visit dynamicindustrialservices.co.uk to find out more.
Welcome back to the Oh No 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 podcast, where tonight we get ready for the last dance. It's been a wild ride against Arbroath this season. We've seen a 90th minute winner, we've seen a goal-scoring goalkeeper, and as well we've seen a 2-0 banker which turned into a 3-2 disaster. But tomorrow night we have the honour of being the side that gets to dispatch the bunnet sacking, firmer enabling, toilet seat auctioning rabble from Angus. You've sung about how you've won the league with Hammy at Starks Park, and now we'll see you back off down to League One. Arbroath, it's been nice knowing you. I'm your host, Robbie Weir, and tonight I'm going to be joined by, firstly, he's suited and booted like a Ghanaian funeral director over there. We've got Callum Blythe. How you doing, Callum?
I'm here to give the awards ceremony that we will be having later some real sort of presentation style that it deserves, considering this season.
Now, I do just want to add into the mix tonight that there's a bit of spirits and drinks going about. So, Callum, what's your tipple of choice tonight?
Well, I mean, I don't exactly have much of a choice, but it is Famous Grouse whiskey. I will not be getting drunk tonight. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Next up, we've got Carol Smith. And Carol, how you doing?
I'm very good. How's yourself?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And what have you got joining you in your glass this evening?
I will be popping some cava later on for some sound effects and for some bubbles to celebrate when our award session.
Excellent. And then last but not least, we've got Leslie Maven. Leslie, how are you?
I'm in really good spirits today because, as some of you might know, I've got a wee soft spot for Parma, who got promoted back to the Serie A last night after a few years in the wilderness. So very much looking forward to tomorrow's game. The only hammy thing I'm going to be enjoying this weekend is Parmigiano ham. And the greatest thing we're going to see is the hard Parmigiano cheese being grated on my pasta. Got a bit of Valpolicella from as close to the Parma region, Emilia-Romagna region in Italy as I can, and I'm looking forward to chatting to you about the Rovers this evening.
Now, you can't say that this podcast doesn't give you all the culture, famous grouse and all the Italian drink there as well. Callum, to come back to you firstly, Rovers have kept 3 clean sheets in a row going into this game. So just to start, obviously this game's been described, I think, as our last 3 games we've used. Raith TV have used it. I think the Courier have probably used it as well. Dead rubber is the phrase that's been chucked about. So 3 clean sheets on the bounce though. Do you think it's quite important to be protecting that for tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, you want to have some sort of defensive solidity in your side. If they, it's like the opposition can't win if they don't get the ball in your net. Of course, we have only, trying to think, it was 0-0 against Morton, and it's like the previous 2 games. I think we've only scored 1, I think. Yeah. But, so of course we want to, win those games, but as I said, if they don't score, they don't win. That's what we want. We want to win these playoffs.
Yeah, I think
we want to beat these Arbroath guys after what happened last time.
And the time before that as well.
Oh.
I think that for the playoffs, these types of games are very difficult because you do want to go in with momentum, but at the same time you do want to sort of keep your squad fresh. So it's a very hard thing to find the right balance, because if you go into the playoffs a few weeks before and you're losing games, nobody's going to be happy. But at the same time, you don't want to be... We were talking before we came on air about the last thing that we want to see is anyone get crocked the night before. Carol, for ourselves, the last 6 games we've only scored 4 goals. Do you think this represents a bit of a chance to get on the goal trail for Rovers tomorrow night?
I think we need our goalkeeper to score a goal, and then we're even Stevens, and our season is equalised. We're done. It'd be good. I think for morale, for motivation, and just to give the fans something to cheer about before we go into the playoffs, a goal would be nice. And if it's from our goalkeeper, it would be just so much better.
I mean, I'm not going to complain, and I certainly know that Christina's been said at some point that we will see Kevin Dabrowski score a goal for us. I would take it if it was Andy McNeil or Robbie Thompson, to be honest.
Yeah,
as well.
just the goalkeeper to score, and then we're even. It can't be their glorious moment.
Friendly vibe of bringing on a keeper at half time. They could both get in on that. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
And Leslie, the game coming up against Arbroath, another opportunity to really experiment. What would you like to see Ian Murray try to do?
It's a bit of a difficult one in that you don't want to just treat it as a friendly. I think you do want a bit of momentum and match sharpness going into the playoffs. So when remembering the weird situation Inverness had last season, where they effectively had a month of no football and then had to go into a cup final against Celtic. So you don't want that kind of big lull. You do want to keep a wee bit of momentum. I think one thing I would absolutely like to see is Dylan Corr getting another game under his belt. And I think if he does, I think that would bode really well for the playoffs. Not because I think we should be chucking him into the centre of defence no matter what, but because I do think it would make it more likely that Scott Brown is going to be kept in the midfield. So I'd like to see Dylan Corr get another 90 under his belt. Aside from that, again, anybody who's carrying any sort of knock or anything like that, or anybody who's got any chance of getting suspended, rest them. If we need to give somebody like Ross Matthews or Scott McGill some minutes at right back, let's do that. Otherwise, I'd say let's not treat it as a piss up or an end of season party. Let's actually go out, give it a good go, and hopefully go into the playoffs with another clean sheet and another good performance under our belt.
So you're telling me they're not treating like 3/4 of this podcast tonight where they're getting on the booze and having a bit of a jolly with it. That'll never catch on, Leslie. Yeah, Dylan Corr's done really, really well since he came back in, and I think that everyone's been happy to see him get the game time and a real opportunity to have a bit of a further look at him. Really a chance for him to sort of get some minutes under the belt. I know that Ian Murray before... I think Ian Murray and Neil deserve a lot of credit for that Raith TV interview that they put out earlier this evening, because it was 6 minutes talking about a game that is very hard to find talking points for going into, given the sort of nature of it. But one thing that I really took from that was Ian Murray just highlighting. I know everyone says it and everyone's of the opinion, but just make sure that the squad's safe for it. Make sure that if anyone's got any questions about it, they're going to get rested. And that was the main thing that I took away from the pre-match preview that they put out this evening. Callum, bit of a different slant on this one. Arbroath haven't won since the last time that we met. Now, do you think that's almost a bit of a problem in that, for all it's a dead rubber, that people might become a bit impatient that we're playing against a team who have leaked quite a lot of goals recently, and that they'll expect to see Rovers do the same?
I think it would be very, very brave for Rovers if we were to lose. As you say, we were the last team to lose against them. And it's like they've gone through like all these run of fixtures, and it's us again, and then we lose again. That would just be incredibly brave. But yeah, I do fear it's like sometimes when you do play these teams, there is that sort of expectation. It's just like, these guys are shite, we're going to battle them. But it's like that. Football doesn't work like that. It's not on paper. It's on the pitch, and anything can happen. So, of course, there is a worry about people getting on the team's back if we're not completely pummeling them into League One early. But,
yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. And And that for me that's one thing I think it's important to keep a measure of ourselves tomorrow night as support. It should really be a good send off at the end of what's been a successful league campaign to get a second place finish and a chance as well to sort of cement our highest ever points total that we've had in terms of a league campaign before going into playoffs at this level, certainly in almost nearly coming on 30 years, which is incredible to think about. Carol, in what's going to be a relatively meaningless game, what are you hoping for?
2-0 and some fun.
I think we can get on board with that.
Yeah, 2-0 and some fun. I think the fans need to enjoy it, and the playoffs is a separate thing. We've done bloody well this season, and I think we need to enjoy it, and we need to celebrate it with the players tomorrow night and say thank you to them, and they need to say thank you to the fans. But yeah, 2-0 and some fun. That's what I'm after.
And Leslie, just a final point that I'll probably expand on myself. Arbroath Football Club, are you happy to see the back of them?
Thing is, like, before I came on air, I had a wee rant made up about Arbroath effectively having had the same shirt for about 10 seasons, that Macron maroon thing with Megatech projects on the front. Then I realised I'm wearing a Parma top, and Parma have effectively had the same shirt for about 30 years. It's like The Simpsons, where Nelson steals a body warmer from the store and he has an identical one underneath and he says, it's the kind I like. So this is kind of how I feel as well. We get rid of that maroon top. I mean, and sometimes it's, it kind of goes through cycles. I remember it was 5-6 years ago, it was Dumbarton. They're the best part-time team in Scotland, and they were all right. Hughes full-time should be embarrassed being beaten by them. And then, it goes through cycles. I mean, it happens sometimes. You get a group of players that work well together and have a manager, and at that moment in time, it works and it does well for a few seasons. And you punch well above your weight. I'm not going to use the phrase about natural order, but I think it's kind of the end of a cycle, and it is what it is. So we've got tougher opposition coming up next season, and they'll be replaced by a significantly tougher outfit in Falkirk, and we'll see who comes up or stays up from the playoffs as well. I mean, just for any Arbroath fans that are listening, in case anybody's yelling at their phone, there have been a lot of close battles between our two sides in the last 4 or 5 seasons. Not just in the Championship, in League One as well. There've been a lot of very close games between these two teams, but this seems like an appropriate moment for the ways to part.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Arbroath have done exceptionally well at this level. I know last season it looked like they were very much in trouble, but they managed to keep themselves up. Personally, I'm quite happy to see the back of them. I feel that they've always been a difficult game. I don't feel like we've had a really good record against Arbroath up until the last few seasons. I remember even before the start of the season, some of their fans try to say that we were on their mantelpiece, which in no shape or form were we. We had a very good record against them where they'd won only a handful of games. But, all good things, as you say, life cycles in terms of football. Very funny that you mentioned about the kit. So it's like that with Airdrie. I mean, every season you must be going in as an Airdrie fan. I wonder what our kit's going to be like. And it's a diamond. That's a surprise. But yeah, it'll be a very intriguing league next season if we are in the Championship, given that Livingston look almost certain to come down, and with Falkirk coming up, there's still playoffs to be played, but I can't see there being much between any of the teams, so it'll be a real lottery in terms of who finishes where, and there's a lot to be positive about from a Raith Rovers perspective, regardless of how the playoffs go, but let's enjoy the playoffs first. Let's not make any qualms about it. I've got very excited for them because I've just got a belief that our squad can kick on and move forward and get through them. But yeah, very interested to see how things pan out over the next few weeks. So I guess what we'll do next is we'll do our standard. It's not not the most in-depth preview if you're tuning in for looking forward for this Arbroath game. Has anyone got any final thoughts about the game itself, or?
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Arbroath.
pretty much sums it up. But we'll just go into our lineups and predictions. So, Carol, just to come to you first, have you even bothered doing a lineup for this one?
I'm going to be honest, when you said lineup, I went, oh shit, where's my pen? No, I haven't. I was thinking who would I rest? I definitely think I would rest Vaughan, but then I think Vaughan's character, he would like to be at least on the bench and be there. I would quite like to see another goalkeeper, just get maybe even 45 minutes, like you say, give him another half. So no, in your answer to that, no, I don't have a lineup. Just don't break anyone. That's my only thing, is don't break anyone.
That's fair enough. Like, let's just get rid of any guise of professionalism on the podcast this evening. Just given that it's an end of season kickabout. Callum, did you bother?
My lineup will be whatever is announced at 6:45 tomorrow night.
I think you'll be a bit
not
like
bothered.
You'll be about the second person that's managed it, and I think Leslie's frantically writing one right now. Leslie, are you the man to save us?
Exactly. Yeah, I am. So I think, like I said, you don't just want to treat it like a piss up. You know, you actually want to go in to the playoffs with a bit of form, and especially if we get another clean sheet, and if we can get a win, that's going to be a good end to the season. So I think we'll go with Dubrovsky in goals. I think we will go with Liam Dick at left back. Probably appearing at centre half of Dylan Corr and Ewan Murray. I suspect Scott McGill might get a go at right back in case he's needed there. We'll probably go, I think, with Sean Byrne at the base of midfield, or Ross Matthews, Kyle Turner in the 10, Callum Smith on the left, Aidan Connolly on the right, and Jack Hamilton up front, potentially also. I think I've only got 10 players there. Now, I know that Claude Anelka did actually do this when he went to the USA and was swiftly removed from his position for starting a team with only 10 players. So one of Brown or Matthews will be in there alongside Byrne, I think.
Sounds good. Yeah, I scribbled down a lineup just as I was quizzing other people's about theirs. So the perks have been the host. So I just went with McNeil in goals, Liam Dick, Dylan Corr, and Ewan Murray as a back three. Depending on the fitness, obviously, you could take Ewan Murray out of there if he needs a bit of a rest. I went with Josh Mullen and McGill as your sort of full-backs. Turner, Byrne and Matthews in the centre. Turner obviously being pushed a bit further ahead, and Rudden and Hamilton up top if they are fit. If not, just rotate. Just do what you see fit. And to be honest, again, it's one of those ones where I'm not going to get too upset if there is any players missing out, just given the nature of the game. So,
do you have any backup left backs? I've just thought of that.
No. Next question.
Not particularly.
All right.
You'd probably be looking at
Scott McGill. Scott McGill, that's all he does.
Scott McGill can play
just go and
everywhere.
fill in anywhere, yeah.
Just have a team of 11 Scott McGills. That's
that'd be
just
cool. I like that.
Just clone him.
I think if you were going to do one player to do that with for the full squad, you would have Scott McGill to do it with. If you wanted an all-round 11 players, because he probably could play in every single role.
Stick him in goal for a laugh.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Why not?
It's that type of match where you could do that type of daftness. It's like playing, I don't know, Robbie Thompson at left back just for a bit of a giggle. It's like when who was it? Stuart Pearce.
Can I just stop you there? Now, let's not talk about goalies playing outfield. This is not the fixture for that kind of language.
No, Liz, we need to get revenge.
It's like when who was it? David James got played up front for Manchester City back in the banter years when Stuart Pearce was in charge. Now you're probably looking and you're saying, "What? Only quarter of an hour in. What's happened with this podcast? They've gone off the rails." Well, tonight we are delighted to announce the Oh No Podcast Awards. No black ties needed for this one. We're delighted to present here Lugs this evening. These just the inaugural awards ceremony of which we've been frantically preparing for. Carol did a lot of work for this. So thank you, Carol, for getting the Google Forms set up and quizzing everyone. And again, this type of thing, if you want to get involved on social media, feel free to rather than your lineups this week, feel free to send us over anything that you feel that we have missed or just completely failed to pick up on. So for the first award, Carol, would you please be able to... I'm going to be using the Riverside Sounds in here as well, which is going to be a bit of a surprise. So I will call for drum rolls. So, Carol, for our Best Cartooning Award, if you would please present this.
Or sound check. Okay, she pops open the envelope. The winner is, by a large margin, the Mario Kart. Everybody voted for the Mario Kart. Yes. With special mention for the Dunfermline cart at the back, minus the wheels.
Aye, Alex Jakubiak blowing up. What a great moment.
Just that bit alone was worthy of winning.
Yes. That was the out-and-out winner.
The way it got them all riled up as well. It was beautiful.
We were pretty good at that. We had a good number of opportunities to wind people up this season. And I know it gets flagged. Even Dundee United fans quoting it for this weekend's game, which is very, very funny because it's taken them up until 2 weeks to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's it's much of that. We were speaking about that. A lot of us over the last few weekends. Dundee United, I thought that was absolutely tremendous. They're in between us, the back and forth after Friday night. Just a really good laugh, and that's the spirit that it's got to be taken in. So Leslie, up next we have got the cheekiest moment of the year. So I will cue my drum roll now.
I'm not even going to pretend that I have an envelope for us, but I do know what the cheekiest moment of the year is. And the cheekiest moment of the year, again by a unanimous vote, is the sliding onto Sunday tweet of Jack Hamilton bodying the Dundee United goalkeeper in the 2-1 victory at Starks Park. This again is something that upset a lot of people. And I'm going to go off on a wee bit of a tangent here. Something I've been keeping under my belt for a few weeks. So I used to work in rally driving, in PR, a long time ago in another life. And the thing about PR and rallying was it was always very low-key, and everybody was very, very cautious about doing anything that was off-piste or a bit different. It was all about, we don't want to encourage risky behaviour, we don't want any trouble here, just keep it low-key, keep it straight-laced. And these two American rally drivers came along, Ken Block, who's sadly no longer with us, and Travis Pastrana. They were sponsored by Monster Energy and Red Bull, respectively. And they had a totally different way of doing things. They did these YouTube videos of the gymkhanas. Ken Block would take his Subaru down to a warehouse in Portland and he'd do drifts and he'd do jumps. And people were raging about this. People are like, this is outrageous. This is really dangerous. It's encouraging reckless driving. We cannot be having this. But of course, the numbers that they got, the responses they got for their sponsors were out of this world compared to what everybody else was getting. And I think this is very similar to what Rory and his team have been doing with our social media this season. You sort of accept that some people are going to be a wee bit rattled by it. It's not for everybody, but, if you get rattled by it, it's not for you. And I think this is what we've seen, not just with sliding into Sunday, but with a lot of the other things we've done too. There's been a lot of clutching at pearls from other teams, a lot of tutting and muttering under their breath. But if you click on it, if you rage tweet it, if you engage with it, you are doing exactly what the team are wanting you to do. So, I think if they did a fabulous job, and I think sliding into Sunday for me just encapsulates that. So that for me was the cheekiest moment of the year.
See, when you get paid by Twitter now because we've got Twitter Blue. So our transfer kitty is going to be based off of the amount of raging Dundee United fans and Dunfermline fans and whatever. Also, thanks for bringing back memories of Ken Block.
It's Leslie, you're just full of surprises, man. Like, you just come out with you could tell me, like, literally that you were away, I don't know, as a vice president in Nicaragua or something like that. And I would completely believe you because you just come out with these stories from time to time. So yeah, but I think the point remains the same with the sliding into Sunday, and indeed the whole Twitter. Bear in mind, it's a social media account for Raith Rovers. It's designed for Raith Rovers fans. It's not for anyone else. Like, it's your choice to get riled up by that if you're biting away to it. It's a bit like the Ricky Gervais quote about Twitter about guitar lessons on a big billboard in the town centre, and someone screaming, "I don't want fucking guitar lessons!" It doesn't matter. Like, it does not matter. Just calm down. Just enjoy it. So yeah, that's the next one. I'm not going to bother with the drum rolls again because that's just going to get on people's nerves by the time we get to the 7th or 8th category. So Callum, if you could bring for us nextly, Goal of the Season award.
With my very professional golden piece of paper, the winner of Goal of the Season is Scott Brown versus Dundee United in the second game at Starks Park. And honestly, I think this one might have been unanimous as well. Yeah, it was. And there's no surprise, it was just an incredible hit. Just completely out of nowhere. It's like, you don't expect that from Scott Brown. It's like, he's been playing centre-back for most of the season. But then he just goes and does that. And the thing is, it's like, not only was it like, it really like helped cement it. It's like, we're not going away from this title fight. It was also a bit of a special moment for myself because it's like, one of my friends from uni, he's a foreign student. He hadn't been to any football games before, and the first game I took him to was the loss against Inverness. He somehow wasn't traumatised being sat in between me and Bodge, but it was just like that game. It's like, see when that goal went in, he was like all of us, just off his nut, just bouncing around, hugging folk, and it was brilliant. I felt like a proud father in a weird, in like the weirdest possible way, because I'm only like 5 years older than him. But it's like that. This is what football does to people. It was one of those, and it was brilliant. I wish I could just go back and relive that moment.
It's I think it's always funny how football's got that unifying factor. When I was at uni in Stirling, my flatmate was from Luxembourg, and he would like chat about it. And we used to play like Football Manager until like 4 a.m, both our laptops in like the kitchen. Just classic student behaviour. And when Raith came to play Stirling that season, it was the season where we had John Baird and Gregory Taddy up front and ran Dunfermline close for the league. He came along with me to Forth Bank that day, and he could not believe the away support that we took, because I don't know if anyone saw it, but like a few days ago there was in the French third tier there was a Le Mans supporter who made the 600-mile round trip to watch his team win in a 9-goal thriller. Now, with French away supports, because obviously the geographical distances involved, it tends to be very, very small. So for my friend, he was very, very surprised. He was like, you would not get this in France, like a full 1,000-strong away support in that away end of Forth Bank. But yeah, just it's very funny how you can get that as a unifying factor, and people just lose themselves regardless of the team. Even if they're along for the day, it can just be a good day out. So up next, I have got the honour of the best photography, shall we say, for the season. The best moment that would look good on merchandise, as Carol put it. And we've got to give special thanks to one Mr. Matty Todd of Dunfermline, who decided at the start of the season that it was going to be a very, very, very bright idea to stick his fingers in his lugs, and after a penalty shootout draw in the League Cup. Now, Dunfermline got knocked out of said League Cup, and Matty Todd's Dunfermline side were on the end of 5 derby defeats after, in which case every single time members of the Raith Rovers squad took to memeing on him, sticking their fingers in their lugs, none more so than gaffer Ian Murray. So you could have any pick of, I think, about 3 or 4 derbies where Ian Murray did it after. But there is some glorious images of Ian Murray at East End Park with fingers in ears, promptly mocking the Dunfermline fans. So yeah, a fully richly deserved moment there as the best photography for the season. Carol, up next we've got the best moment of the season. So if you would kindly present us with that.
Well, this one was a tie. There was lots of suggestions, but the two that came out top was on the back of what you said, Robbie, beating them lot 5 times was just a cumulative moment. And from a personal point of view, when I was at the home game where we played Dunfermline, it was my first time I'd seen them beat Dunfermline in 15 years, like in the flesh. So yeah, it was a fantastic moment, and a special mention because it was a tie to the Ross Millen last minute penalty Panenka, just because I was informed that there were subsequent limbs of a lifetime afterwards, and it was one of the best away days that people have. So yeah, they were the best bloody moments of the season.
Yeah, for me, that all the Dunfermline games were enjoyable, to say the least, but particularly the Stanton last-minute goal. I turned round to the people that I sit with and I said, like, I've waited years to see a last-minute winner against them. I've seen last-minute equalisers, but when you've got a last-minute winner and people are just jumping about and hugging each other, and just the overall feeling that you get after that, it was just absolutely incredible. And then the whole aftermath of that derby with the first real enraging cartoon of the Kyle Benedictus and Craig Whiten bowing down to Louis Vaughan on a throne.
Oh, the Kings of Fife poster.
particularly enjoyable moment. Leslie, back to you next. We have got the best tackle of the season.
Now, there is a bit of a theme to the awards, not just that I'm presenting, but the ones that are coming across, and that a lot of them tend to involve Dundee United. And the best tackle of the season is no exception. So there are a few notable kind of mentions which need to be brought up first, most of which involve Ross Matthews, get him a new contract, by the way. But the award for best tackle of the season goes to Ross Millen against Dundee United. So we're winning 1-0 and we're on course for victory. Louis Moult breaks clear and he's about to get through and give it 110% and smash it top bins for the gaffer. Out of nowhere, Ross Millen comes sliding in, dispossesses Louis Moult of the ball and prevents a goal from happening, thereby securing a 1-0 win for us at Tannadice. So that, I think, for its timing, its precision, and also because of the fact that if he got it wrong, it was a red card, a penalty, and probably a chicken celebration. So Ross Millen saved us a lot there. For that, he wins best tackle of the year. And I think, Carol mentioned Panenka as well. And I mean, clearly, we don't know what's happened, but what has happened is what has happened. But you can't kind of airbrush out or disregard the contributions that Ross Millen made to the first half of the season. So I think it's worth just acknowledging that as well. That there were contributions from him across the season that helped us get to where we were, and the tackle against Dundee United was one of those. While I've got the airtime, and while I'm talking about Dundee United, I'm just going to say one final thing. So every single time we have a defeat, they're on our Twitter. Where's the cartoon? Where's the cartoon? They're talking about having a third pitch invasion tomorrow. Like, see next season of the Premier, are we allowed to ask them when the pitch invasion is every time they secure a point? Are we allowed to be in their Twitter going, where's the pitch invasion? Where's the pitch invasion?
Yes.
Fabulous.
I'm sure you will 100% find Rovers fans that'll be away off doing that.
I'm surprised you didn't mention the fact that it's like when he did make that tackle, he got up and started celebrating in front of the fans. He gave it a big come on. The ball was still in play. The ball was like trickling towards the corner.
I don't think I'm alone in saying I celebrated that with all the vigour of
I was about to say was that Eastern goal.
Aye. The Eastern goal, I was just completely shocked when I saw it fly into the top corner. Whereas the Ross Millen tackle, I was screaming my head off in celebration. Now, Callum, up next, we've got the unsung hero category. Now, we've got quite a lot to cover here. So yeah, if you want to start making this off, and that'll probably cover us up to about the 50th minute of the podcast.
So the Unsung Hero Award is a very interesting choice because it reads off like a list of Oscar nominees, because somehow we got a 5-way tie. So first winner is Kieran Mitchell, who contributed to that equaliser away to Partick Thistle, and then went away on loan, I think. Never to be seen again. But we will take those. Thank you, Kieran. Then it is Keith Watson, someone who has been excellent when he's been at the back. Been really, really good, but he doesn't make the flashy stuff, so he just sort of goes unnoticed. It's sort of like Scott Brown last season. I swear, I always forgot that Scott Brown was on the pitch because he just did his job. He didn't do the flashy stuff, but it's what makes the team work. Third, we have Ben McAdam. Now, Ben, if you don't know, is behind the videos on Raith TV and the socials. He's the one who you'll see going up, sticking the GoPro behind the goals, taking, obviously, videos of the goal coming in and also of the fans.
Yeah, I know that, just to come in there, Ben recently completed his dissertation, and I know that he was away with the Cerebral Palsy Scotland team. Was it Portugal they were off to?
No, they were in Salou and they're now the world champions.
No,
Scotland are the world champions.
Happy days.
So there you go. Congratulations, Ben.
Yeah. So, but no, I just Ben in particular has been, the whole social media team has obviously been exceptional. Grace, Rudy, everyone involved has done a tremendous job in turning around where the club's at, and just sort of like the way that social media is handled and the sort of perspectives on it. But Ben in particular, just a really, really nice guy. Good to meet him on a few occasions. And he wasn't a Rovers fan before he came to the club, but you can guarantee that every Saturday he's going to be, if he's not at Starks Park, he's going to be looking for the results now, just because of the impact that the club's had on him and the impact that he's had on the club. So yeah, fully deserves that unsung hero mention there.
Fourth winner is Ross Matthews. Now, of course, Leslie has been a big fan of him. Get the contract out, and I fully agree with that. It's like, the thing is, like, he came through at the same time as Lewis Vaughan, so he's still, so them two, it's like they're the homegrown heroes, shall we say? And it's like having Matthews and Vaughan hopefully next season playing in the Premiership would just be incredible, considering we had to watch them play in League One, and to like have them play a part in getting us into the Premiership and playing in the Premiership is just, it's what football stories are made of. It's a beautiful story. And our final mention, and honestly surprised I didn't mention this because I quite like them, the Stewart Bakery's kebab pies. An excellent addition to the Starks Park culinary section. And it's like, when I travel up to university in Dundee, and next to it is a bakery that do doner kebab pies. And obviously, it's like, I've not been there for a month, so it's like having those kebab pies again, it just brings back a good feeling, They're exceptional. They're just really good pies.
Funny, because the volunteer meeting that they had last summer, they had the catering there, and that was like the first time that they had like the doner pies in, and I think everyone was just like, "Woof, those are incredible." And
they started off as a special, didn't they? They started off as a special,
absolutely
but it's like
no surprise that they've changed it to be in every game, because just how good they are. So fair play for establishing a market on that. So for the penultimate category here, we have got Best Save, which I'm covering off myself. Now, Big Kev's had a lot of moments for us this season. Throughout the course of the film, you think of some of the saves up at Tannadice, the game at Starks Park against Dundee United last time around, where he saved late on to keep our 2-1 lead intact. But really, after that last game at Arbroath, there was a lot of people, he came in for a lot of criticism of the equaliser for Arbroath. And what a way to answer it, because the next game was the derby against Dunfermline, a Dunfermline fan base who have told us no end before the start of the season on some podcast that Kevin Dabrowski was shite. And guess what? Big Kev's just rattled off numerous clean sheets, done tremendous job, and the save against you and Otto in that final derby at Starks Park, won save of the season. Not really any surprise. Otto catches it, couldn't catch it any better, and Big Kev manages to claw it away and over the bar. And yeah, just I know we've spoken about it a lot on this podcast, how it's really his first season as a first choice goalkeeper, and the experiences that he's had will add so much to his game. I'm just really excited to see how his career develops and how he goes, both with Rovers and then in the future if he progresses on past us, because let me tell you, that guy is one of the nicest people that you can meet. He's just so down to earth, just very, very friendly. Will happily, if you're a supporter, he'll happily give the time and just chat to you and just tell you about his experiences, how much he's enjoying it. And it's no surprise that that man is a firm fan's favourite and deserves all the credit that he's got. And we're all just looking forward to seeing what happens moving forward with Big Kev in the future. And then our
God bless
final
you,
category.
Kevin Dabrowski.
Exactly. I should also mention, actually, unsung hero category. I did mention, because I was going to get bribed as well, that Pine Bovrils, Div McDonald, was offering up boxes of Freddos. So hopefully my honourable mention there will gather me a box of Freddos. But yeah, to go to our final category now, Carol, if you could, as our resident Raith TV enjoyer, purveyor, shall we say,
Connoisseur,
if you could let us know of the best Raith TV moment of the season, please.
There has been a few. There's been a few moments this season where I have just stood to my feet and went, what the is happened? But the Dylan Easton goal at Dundee United, the Davies commentary was amazing. But the winner of this category is, and it's on our merchandise and mug, tell me he's not going to Panenka it, Davy. And I think we all went, he's not, he bloody well is. He's bloody well done it. Yes. There is a few things that I regret in life, and not being at that game and not being at a couple of games is one of them. And I think being there and the limbs that must have come after that would have been amazing, because the squeals on Raith TV, I mean, I've said before, Raith TV is a lifeline. It has made me the Raith fan I am. I wouldn't be doing this podcast if it wasn't for Raith TV. It is amazing. And that quote is just, it's going to last a lifetime. He's not going to Panenka it, Davy.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it was what everyone was thinking. And yet there was no way of altering it with what happened. And the fact that we knew it, Queen's Park fans knew it, but the only person that didn't was the Queen's Park our goalkeeper. Absolutely tremendous. But I've loved. You obviously hear the commentary that the Raith TV guys do, whether it's Davey, whether it's Jim, whether it's Neil, whether it's Kirstine. The lot of them are all very, very good, because let me tell you, I think everyone thinks it's very, very easy to go out and talk for a prolonged period of time about a football club. It's not nearly as easy as it looks. And when you see people, like, even on this podcast, like, try to do intros and things like that, when you've got Duncan doing them and he makes them seem seamless, you think, oh, that must be really easy. It is absolutely not. But yeah, I even remember that Kilmarnock game where we'll bring in your favourite man here, Callum. Matej got his 2 goals at Rugby Park, and they put up the clip, and it's just Jim saying, oh, it's Danny Armstrong up against Tumulty and he's in for a battle, and then Jim just comes in and goes, it's not going to be a battle because Tumulty's absolutely smoked him, and just leaves him in the dirt. But yeah, just the work that they all do is just so valuable to the club, so enjoyable, and you just look forward to many more moments to come. And it was great to hear that Davey was back after a wee sort of a short break after, I believe, had to take a wee bit of time away. So it's great to hear that Davey was back on the Raith TV duties last weekend. So that will conclude the awards ceremony. Now, a lot of the awards, obviously, you've got your social media, you've got your moments and your goals, and I know that people talk. Leslie touched on there about like airbrushing Ross Millen out. Certainly not. We're going to obviously come back at the end of the season, and we'll talk about every player, and I'm sure at some point, and we'll obviously give Ross Millen his due credit at that moment, at that point, because over the course of the season, there's been so many contributions right from that first game against Partick Thistle, the 2-2 draw, where it was Ethan Ross with his assists in that game. Kieran Mitchell getting his goal. I think Kieran Mitchell's 10-minute spell puts him at I think he's 9 goals per he's got the best goals to minutes ratio in the division, just because he scored 1 goal in 10 minutes, which put him like a goal every 10 minutes effectively for the season. But yeah, a lot to look forward to in the next few weeks, covering off that, because there's been so many great memories from this season, and with the playoffs it's got that opportunity to really kick on and to just have that final few moments, memories, and just potential for just absolute jubilation in Kirkcaldy. And what a way that would be to round off our season. So, we'll now move on to the end of the episode now. We have got our, as resident champion at the moment, of Should McStay or Should Dargo. I've selected my player. We've got 6 questions for our guys tonight. You can play along at home. 6 clues to guess the ex or current Raith Rovers player. So are we all ready?
I'm never
Yes.
ready for this.
No, I forget my own name. It's like you're asking me questions, and I was like, I can't even remember my own name, and it's only got 5 letters, for God's sakes.
Right, well, we'll start off. I am a centre forward.
Matty, put black back.
Okay.
Bandit, I was going to say
2
that.
seconds.
Look, you just knew that was coming straight away.
Leslie?
I'm good for Gozi Ugwu.
And Carol?
John Baird? Was John Baird centre forward? John Baird?
Yes.
John Baird was a centre forward, so yep.
Yeah.
Centre forward, striker, same thing.
Clue number 2. I was part of the Scotland team who came runners-up to Spain in 2006 at the Under-19 Euros with 3 other ex-Rovers players in the squad.
I don't think I was watching football in 2006. Oh, it's definitely not Matty.
Anyone got any guesses?
I'm going to
It's
have
not
to
John
do
Baird,
some
is it?
maths now. This is like Dunfermline before they went into administration and their fans trying to do the maths about how they were going to avoid it. I'm trying to do all the counting and work out who this might be.
Have
So
you read the Cally Thistle thread on Pie and Bovril, Leslie? Woofed.
I'm from Inverness. I get better than that. I get WhatsApps from my dad, who is retired and spends all his days either on the golf course or getting gossip from tradesmen that come in. Anyway, this is...
What's this for you on
about
sledging in Cally? Or Inverness?
Oof,
Ryan
right, so they
Graham.
were under 19 in 2006.
I'm guessing at that point.
Yeah, so
Right,
we're going to
Graham.
revisit.
I've got a feeling he's too old.
Carol, you got a guess?
No, I'm going to pass because I am completely blank in those years.
We'll keep you on John Baird.
I'm going
Yeah,
with...
like,
I
really
could
young.
I could be totally out with my years, so I'm going with Gary Wales.
Gary Wales. Okay. I joined Raith Rovers in 2013 and played over 2 seasons.
Who's going to be
Was
in
his
their
name Mark
20s?
Campbell? The programs at the back of my room are calling me.
You're not allowed.
Am I not allowed to just wheel over? This is plugged in, so I'm going to get very far.
Is anyone... So,
I want to
just
say
to
Greg
recap...
Spence, but that doesn't seem right. But no.
Will we go with Greg Spence for you, Carol?
Yes, I'll go Greg Spence.
Okay. So,
Because it's the only striker I can think of 2013.
Leslie?
That's absolutely not the best shout in the world that Carl has there, with Greg Spence. Clearly, I can't go with that if Carl has as well. So, oof. So 13, 14, 14, 15. If my memory serves me rightly, those were the 2 Grant Murray seasons, which tends to suggest we probably didn't score a great deal of goals
Oh
or
my
play an
god,
awful
that's what I
lot
was
of
thinking
exciting
of. Where did I get
football.
Mark Campbell from?
I'm also going to change to Greg Spence, and I'm going to take the second if that's where it is.
Okay. And for yourself, Callum?
I'm going to stick with Brian Graham.
Brian Graham.
I don't even think he played in that team.
Right, so I played 47 times for Raith Rovers and scored 7 goals.
I don't think it's Brian Graham, I'll be honest. I feel like he scored more than 7.
Brian Graham's on course to beat us.
I
Leslie?
think it could be
X-Men
the
scored more
speedboat without a driver, Mark Stewart.
Mark Stewart. Okay.
Is that who I was thinking of when I had Mark Campbell in my head?
I feel like everyone at home's just going to realise Callum's had an existential crisis during this game.
I have
Carol.
had an existential crisis because it's like 10 years ago when I was a child. Leave me alone.
You can't play the youth card here. Like, you cannot play the youth card here.
I've got my student bus pass, I'll have you know. I don't, I'm too old for that. I had one.
Can't be Greg, because Greg Spence scored more goals. Sure, he scored more goals.
Oh, Greg
I can't think of
Spence
anybody
scored
else.
more
I'm sticking with
goals.
Greg Spence.
And Callum.
I'm going to go with Mark Stewart because I was thinking Mark Campbell, but it must be Mark Stewart that I'm thinking of.
Right. Right. Go with next clue. I am now a manager at another SPFL team.
Right. So we're talking about a fairly inefficient striker.
Dick Campbell.
Right.
Really
Centre
inefficient
forward.
striker and a really young manager.
Yep. Centre forward. Part of the Scotland team who finished runners-up to Spain in 2006 under-19s Euros with 3 other ex-Rovers in that squad. They joined in 2013. Over 2 seasons, they've played 47 times, scored 7 goals, and they're now an SPFL manager.
Grant Murray?
He's a centre forward.
Is that your guess, Callum?
I'm just going with that. I'm just
Okay.
naming names at this point.
Leslie, Carol?
How many goals did they score?
7 goals.
There's a total deer in headlights moment here as I'm trying to scroll through all the managers in the league in my head who were playing for us, could have been playing for us around that time.
Who's
I have
the Alloa
absolutely no
manager?
idea. I genuinely have no idea.
The Alloa manager is Andy
Can't
Graham,
mind his...
who was a centre
Aye.
back.
No, I don't think he played for us.
We might need to extend this to up to 7 clues because I don't think my next clue is going to help you at all. So I'll change it up. Other clubs that I played for in Scotland included a spell with Hearts, Alloa, and Dundee.
Paul Hartley. No,
Paul
I'm totally
Hartley.
out of my years. I could be totally out of my
Also
years.
out of positions as well.
That's right.
Is he Paul Hartley's a defender?
He was a midfielder.
Was he?
Aye. Ex-Rover though. Could we be potentially at the point where I'm going to win as Quizmaster? This would be a terrible, terrible fate.
We claim match fix.
It's the whole manager. I'm done. I'm out.
Okay. Panel,
Stuart
you get
Petrie.
surrendered.
I will surrender.
He's a Dunfermline legend, that's no him. So they're a Ramsden's Cup winner. It's not John Baird.
Don't
It's
tell
not
me
Greg
that's-
Spence. SPFL manager in League 2. Recently moved.
Dick Campbell.
Not Dick Campbell. Lewis Vaughan described him as one of technically the best players that he's played along with, next to Regan Henry.
And
he played for...
Who's recently in
There's
terms
going to be a
of
massive
management.
"oh for fuck's sake" when you tell us. Do you know this?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Oh,
so
I'm very
this-
smug about this right now.
Aye. So
You're
he
a
did-
Smith.
It's time for the smug face.
So this person definitely only managed 2 seasons and didn't return at any point after.
They played 2 seasons, didn't return at any point. They actually retired after us,
Oof.
and they retired young.
Aye.
It's
So it was
really
just
controversy.
scandal manager.
There was actually a controversy when they signed for us because they'd agreed a pre-contract with Livingston.
Oof. Good. Blooming heck.
Do I do the big reveal?
I'm going to have one final... No, I'm not actually, because that's
Go
totally...
on, Leslie. One final guess, please.
My one
Yes,
final
Christ.
guess would have been totally wrong, because the seasons would have been wrong and the number of games and the goals were totally out. So
Right, okay.
Just say it anyway. We've got nothing to lose.
Give you the initials.
Eddie
CE.
Malone.
No.
Callum Elliott.
There you go.
Callum Elliott, who then took us to court after he retired, saying that we hadn't treated him properly.
Yeah, aye. I think his contract was expiring, and moved on. But aye, there you go, Callum Elliott. Oh my word, that was a long,
Oh, so
long
he's
game.
like Bonnyrigg Rose, right?
Aye, he's off to Bonnyrigg. He played in, that was looking up the under-19 Euros team that he played in. Greg Kavanagh, who was on loan from Dundee United, Andy McNeil, which just invokes shudders, and Ryan Conroy, who was a potential other one that I was looking at for our game tonight. But oft, that was a stellar effort there.
I
guys,
have
but
no
Try and
memories of
hide
this
your
man.
smugness, Robbie. At least try and hide it.
my camera's fading out now with the smugness.
It's it's just the leaning back in your chair like I am the man.
Well, it's a tough game. And I think that's the thing. You do definitely get the deer in the headlights moments, but it's always one that I find Lewis Vaughan, the players that he's played with, and he's saying Callum Elliott's technically up there as one of the best. It's just the injury issues that did it for him. And yeah, I've very vivid memories of the watching back, and you see the John Baird goal against Rangers in the cup final, and Callum Elliott, who's the subs, he's one of the first ones down there, and I think he's jumping on to, is it Callum Booth? He's pretty much jumping on there to celebrate that goal, and just overall, just part of a team that was just achieved something very, very special that day with that Ramsden's Cup win. Just a thoroughly enjoyable day. So well done at home if you managed to get that before everyone on the podcast here, and I will try and get a bit of a rein on myself. And Leslie, next time that you're on, you can pick an ex-Rovers player or current Rovers player and gift us the clues for Should McStay or Should Dargo.
One day it'll be Matty.
One day.
Just make it easy for me.
The thing is, like,
My
as soon
timer,
as Callum
Matty.
gets it,
One of the two.
Matty.
It's just going to be like inevitable at that point. Well, thank you for taking the time to listen. I am amazed that we've managed to round out just under an hour on this episode of a dead rubber match for Raith Rovers Football Club against Arbroath. Looking forward to the match tomorrow, but far more so looking forward to these playoff games that are coming up. We will be back at the weekend with a review of Friday night's game and a look ahead going forward. As I say, usually at the end of the episodes, we can be found on Twitter. If you want to contact us there, our DMs are always open, and obviously sharing consistently on there. We've got the Etsy shop, which is run by Blair, who is, at the request of both AI and at the request of listeners, we want to hear Blair back on the podcast. We were talking about how we could airbrush him out and it would be very, very funny, but no, he will be back at some point in the near future soon. And then
Who's Blair?
as well, Carol, you've got the Instagram as well. So, yeah,
Yep.
If you can give that a follow. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to listen, and we'll look forward to you joining us back for our next episode. So, bye for now.